Everybody's mad about something. Recently, I got attacked online by some gay bloggers, and it hurt my feelings. I have no problem with gay people, but I fucking hate bloggers. I'm not saying it because this person was gay. They was acting like a bitch online. They was like mischaracterizing my jokes, trying to make a point off of me, when it's like, yo, I'm your ally, motherfucker. I'm not trying to stop gay people. I got better shit to do. This motherfucker was saying things to try to get gay people to beat me up. Seriously, he was like, Dave Chappelle's jokes. I don't know how he actually talks when he's making his voice up. Dave Chappelle's jokes were an affront to the manhood of all gay men. What the fuck does that mean? I didn't say anything that would allude to gay men not being men. I know you men. In fact, what could be manlier than fucking another guy in the ass? It's the most gangster shit I've ever heard of in my life. I told you I'm not cut out for that. I'm a pussy. You know what I said? That's all I said. First of all, I'll tell you right now what I said. And I will tell you that this was not a joke. It's a true story. And I just happened to tell it. All right, what happened was I went to a gallery party, all right? I don't know who in here has ever been rich before, but these are very nice parties. You know, wine and cheese and ball of conversation. And there was a few eccentric types, one of which was a very wealthy man that happened to be wearing a dress. I don't know what you call him, man. It was a tranny or a drag queen, perhaps. Whatever it was definitely a man. And this man was definitely on drugs. I don't know what kind of drugs he's on, but I knew he had too much. He didn't look good. It's like this. He's like, he looked sick. And all his friends were standing around him, concerned, trying to revive him. I don't know whether it looked like some kind of gay CPR. There was fanning and shit. I saw all this from a distance. Now, I should have minded my own business, but I got curious. I was like, oh. And I went over there. All I said, excuse me, gentlemen, is he okay? And then they looked at me like I was evil. She is fine. I'm sorry, I didn't know this is what we were doing. Here's my thing. I would support anybody's right to be whoever they feel like they are inside. I'm your ally in that. However, my question is, to what degree do I have to participate in your self-image? Is it fair that I have to change my whole pronoun game up for this motherfucker? That doesn't make sense. Seriously. If I put on an Argyle sweater and I'm like, hey, everybody, I feel like a white guy in this sweater and I want some goddamn respect and a bank loan. That's not gonna work. Give a fuck how I feel. Why should I give a fuck how you feel? Nigger is a pronoun. But there was no time for philosophical debate. This was an emergency situation. I said, fine. Sorry, guys. I was just worried because she looks terrible. And she just fell off the bench. Appears that her dick is popping out of her dress. You mind if I call an ambulance, champ? I'd rather not be at a party where a tranny ODs. There's too many questions to answer. Okay, I've been through this before. I had a friend from high school. Now, in high school, this guy was a thug, Will, right? He was a fucking dope boy. He did it all. He's a wild dude. People used to be very scared of him. And then after high school, word on the street was he'd come out the closet. I personally didn't believe it. I bring him up because last year, he calls me out of the blue like, yo, what's up, man? I got your number from so-and-so, and I heard you're going to be in New York doing a show. Could I get some tickets? I was like, fuck yeah, get some tickets, man. How you been? He said, well, we'll catch up at the show, man, but yo, I appreciate it. I'll see you soon. I said, all right, man, take care. And I was about to hang up, and I couldn't resist. I was just like, hey, nigga, I heard you was gay. What's going on with that? And I wish I didn't ask, because he sounded like he was dying to talk about that shit. And he had a long story about it. And it's not that I didn't care. But I was, I don't like talking on the phone. I was watching TV at the same time. So I just wasn't really paying attention like I should. But I was trying to sound supportive, but I didn't really know what to say. So I just like mumbling shit throughout this conversation. I just be like, nigga, you gay, man. You just gay. This went on for a while, and then finally I had to say something like definitive to get him off the phone. And I was like, hey, man, you know what? Don't let people get you down, all right? And the next time someone tries to make you feel bad about yourself, just remember, everybody fucks funny to somebody. He didn't like that shit. He's like, what the fuck does that mean? I said, huh? He said, you saying I fuck funny, motherfucker? I said, no, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying everybody's different. He said, you ain't say different, nigga. You say it funny. What's so fucking funny about the way I fuck? And I said, hey, man, I fuck feet. He said, what? Oh, this is not a joke, ladies and gentlemen. I get women to squeeze their feet together like this, and I fuck them right in that little space in their feet. But you can't build a community behind that shit. There's no flag for us. That shit made him laugh. And the next day, after the show, I saw him backstage. He was like, yo, what's up, man? I'm like, oh, shit, what's going on? And he had his buddy with him. He goes, Dave, I want you to meet Manuel. Manuel's my fiance. We're in New York getting married because it's legal here. I said, well, gracias. And he went to go get some drinks. And then my buddy looked at me. He was like, so, Dave, what do you think? And I started mumbling again. Oh, you gay, nigga. You're just gay. He said, yeah, I'm a little nervous about getting married, man. It's a big step. I said, yeah, it is. It's a big step. He said, well, you've been married for a while. You got any advice for us? No, I'm married to a woman. Sorry about that. And he corrected me. He said, no, you married the person that you love. So it's essentially the same. I said, man, the problem with that statement is that it makes the assumption that I love her. But you guys lighten the fuck up. Of course I love my wife. She laughs at this shit. As a matter of fact, she eats and spends this shit. You know what I told him? I told him, I said, you know what you should do, man? First of all, you shouldn't do it. I'm talking about being legally married. It's not that you're gay as much as just legal marriage is a fucking diabolical leverage game in the United States. I'm just being honest. Devoid of religious significance or the idea of love, marriage is nothing but an awful contract that you shouldn't sign. I'm just being real. Because you start out loving each other, and then like 2 years later, you're just building a case against one another for a hypothetical court date that may or may not ever happen. You throw being gay on top of that, that shit is explosive. Like I said, Ray Rice shit. Okay, right after Ray Rice went through all that shit, I was at a party and I met this kid, Michael Samms. You know Michael Samms? Very nice guy. He's the first openly gay NFL player. And Mike's a very nice guy, a very brave guy. But when I met him, I couldn't help but thinking, his wife up in the elevator. Is that domestic violence or is that just two niggas working shit out in the elevator? You know what I mean? Anyway, I give all married men the same advice, gay or straight. Get a dog. This dog will love you all the time, but she's not going to. It's real talk. I didn't even know about dogs, and my kids got the dog. They brought him home from the shelter, and I didn't even want him. They were like, can we keep him? I said, nope. I said, where'd you even get this dog? They're like, we got him from the shelter. I was like, ew. Probably something wrong with him. Can't keep him. And then my kids started crying and screaming like the dog had gambling debts. Please, Dad, if you don't let us keep him, they're gonna kill him. I was like, oh. All right, you can keep him. And this dog was a menace. I hated his guts. Then one night I'd smoked a bunch of weed and I was eating a sandwich and Baba came over. Baba's the dog. He came over and was staring at me. This will make you very uncomfortable if you're just looking at you. I had to give him a piece of my sandwich so he'd go away. And that's how we became friends. Now, if you see me walking down the street with Baba, I ain't got no leash or nothing. He walks right next to me. If I stop, he'll stop. And if I go, he'll go. And all my friends are like, yo, Dave, that shit is dope. How you train Baba to do that shit? I've never trained Baba. Just a messy eater. If I drop food and Baba's not around, all I gotta do is call him. Baba! He's a black dude's dog, so he doesn't come right away. He peeks first to see what's going on. I gotta tap my foot so he can see the food. Over here, little buddy. And he's like, thanks, Dave. He'll come get it and run off. But he knows all my habits. Like, if he smells weed in the house, he'll be like, nah, this motherfucker's about to eat. And he'll just come running. Baba got me through a very difficult time. I seen your girl bubbling. She's drunk as hell, buddy. Listen, sir, I don't know what she's saying, but just take my advice. Get some water in her, or you're going to have some dry pussy when you get home. His dick's going to be shaped the fuck up tomorrow. Santa Maria. Who got a cigarette in here? Anyone got a cigarette I can borrow? Yeah, you fella, yeah, please. Well, let me see this. This is a Marlboro menthol. This could have been anybody. If it was a Newport, I'd be like a black dude threw that up. But a Marlboro menthol, that's one of them riddles. Is the word pussy offensive? All right, just checking. I asked that crowd when we was in Denver, I said, is the word people? One was a woman in the front. She's older than me, maybe around my age. Definitely a feminist. You know what I mean? Short haircut, plaid shirt, you know what I'm saying? And she didn't say it offended her. What she said is she said, I'm uncomfortable with that word. And I was like, really? You? And then before I could ask her why, there was one other guy. He was in the balcony. Now, I don't think he was saying this to me, but he said this. Everybody heard him say it. He goes, it's delicious. I don't think I've ever heard pussy called delicious before in my life. Now, this is not to say that it's bad, but it's definitely an acquired taste. I don't think any of us tasted pussy our first time like, it's good. It needs something. You know, it's illegal for a gynecologist to say the word pussy. They can only say vagina, or they can name individual parts medically, but they can never say shorthand, even if the gynecologist is a woman. I feel like if it was a woman... I don't think men should be allowed to be gynecologists. That shit is a conflict of interest. Even when my wife was pregnant, we used to go to the gynecologist. And he'd put her legs up in that stirrup like this. He'd be like, all right, Miss Chappelle, just try to relax. I push it back up, motherfucker, I got this. Just tell me what to look for. We spend the most time together. Like, it's not that me and my wife don't spend time together, but we've been married so long, it's like we don't talk. Like, I don't know if anyone's married here, but after 10 years, all that chatty shit goes away. You've said it all. You know what I mean? It's just, yeah, we're just in the zone. She says the same shit to me every night before she goes to bed. I'll be the last one up. She's like, let me get some sleep, Dave. Good night. All right, babe, let's stay up and watch television. Good night. And she'll walk halfway up the steps. David? Huh? Don't eat the kids' lunch. And then she walks away. Well, the crazy shit is I don't even eat their lunch anymore. Back in the day, I used to eat that shit. You know how that goes. I might smoke some weed in the middle of the night, and she'll leave neatly wrapped sandwiches all over the kitchen. I'm gonna eat it. What's the big deal? Why can't you just make another one in the morning? I mean, it's like, I got sons anyway. And sons love everything their dads do. My kids will be at school the next day, just look like, oh, Dad bit my sandwich. Oh, shit! You could trade that sandwich for something better. What I'm doing is adding value to their lunch. She doesn't understand these types of things. Anyway, she gets mad at me. Well, she's mad at me now because I got myself in trouble. I got myself extorted, which happens in this business. I come home from the road. There was a FedEx sitting on the kitchen table, and it was addressed to me, so I opened it. I don't know who delivered it. And there was a video cassette inside with a note written on it that said, gotcha. Oh, my God. Can you imagine? I freaked out. I tore the whole house apart. Trying to find the VCR. I haven't seen a tape in like over a decade. And I watched the tape and it was awful. They got me. It was a tape of me. I was fucking a girl, okay? But it was from before I was married. But it was not a good look. And I felt sick to my stomach. And I looked up at the clock and then I saw my wife was coming home in 10 minutes and I just panicked. I jerked off to the tape real fast. And then... And then I called the FBI. Much better. I mean, they didn't say they were going to catch him for sure, but they had the demeanor of some competent people that would catch him. So I didn't worry about it too much. And then not even a week later, 5 days later, I come home and there's another video cassette just sitting on my porch. As soon as I saw it, I just called the police like, they've done it again. You should probably look for a guy with bell bottoms on because I don't know who the fuck is sending tapes. And that second tape was the worst shit I'd ever seen in my life. It was awful. Career-ending bad. It was a tape of me jerking off to the tape a week earlier. I don't even know how they'd even get such a thing. I had to explain all of this to my wife. She was very mad. No thing in this world is as cold as a woman's cold shoulder. Because she was mad, but she wouldn't talk to me about it. She would just punish me in little ways. Make me do shit that I hate to do. Like pick the kids up from school. That's one thing she made me do. That's a hardship for me. I got one son that goes to a public school, and my brother goes to a private school. It's an experiment. I just want to see what's going to happen to him. But what's weird is my little son in private school, he's like my thuggy son, you know what I mean? I don't know where he get that from. He's not getting it from me. And he's definitely not getting it from that school. That school is very, like, it's a liberal school. It's the kind of school, there might be like 12 black students in the entire school. And I'm the only black parent. And none of the parents like me either. Not because I'm black, but just like they don't like how I roll. Because I've been showing up late all the time, and I'm like in a Porsche and a blasting music that they don't like. You know, the music be like, I'll beat the pussy up, and I pull into the parking lot. I might be smoking a cigarette with the kids in the car. Then I pull into like that handicap space. And then when I get out of the handicap space, they always want to say some passive aggressive shit. Morning, Dave. Don't know if you noticed, but you actually parked in the handicap space. Huh? Yeah, you know what, Frank? I did notice. But who is this handicapped guy we're all waiting on that never shows up? So I hate going over to that school. The only parents that are nice to me is a lesbian couple, Kate and Sarah. Actually, Kate hates my guts. Sarah knows that I'm black and she's half black, so she just understands me. You know what I'm saying? I can't explain it. Because I'll say shit and Kate's just too serious about being a lesbian. I'll be like, hey, Kate, hey, Sarah, you guys going to do the father-son picnic next week? How's that going to work? And Kate will instantly be furious. But Sarah knows I'm fucking around, so she'll just say something cool. I don't know, Dave. Maybe me and Kate will flip for that shit. I said, bitch, you better save that coin toss because everybody knows who's strapping on in that household. And then Kate will turn bright red, but Sarah just fist bump me like, you right, nigga? It's me. Huh? We're good friends. We're good friends. They invite me to stuff. They're like my only friends at the school. So imagine my surprise when I go to pick my son up after all this happens. And the teacher is waiting outside for me. She's just standing right there in the middle of the fucking handicap space. I knew something was wrong, so I rolled the window. Let me talk to you for a minute in the office. I said, no, fuck that. We got to talk right here. What's going on? I knew it was bad. Ibrahim had a fight. I said, a fight? Don't worry. Everyone's okay. I said, everyone? What happened? Well, that's it. We don't know what happened because he won't talk to anybody. All we know is that he punched Sarah Jr. in the face. I said, oh, no. Sarah's one of the only parents I'm not sure I can beat up in this school. Just then, Kate and Sarah pulled up to pick up their daughter, and then we all had to go into the office, and I was really worried because I didn't want them to kick me out of the school. And then they brought my son in. He was crying. They brought him in like a prisoner. He was like, oh. I said, son, just stop crying, calm down. Do not look at these mean faces. I need you to look at my face, and I need you to tell me the truth, buddy, all right? Just tell me the truth. Is it true? Did you punch that girl, Sarah Jr., in the face? I was trying to give him a signal to lie, but he didn't pick up on it. I was like... He wasn't paying attention. He said, yes, Daddy, I punched her face. I said, oh, my God. Why? Why would you do that? You're not supposed to put your hand... So gangster, it scared all the parents in the room. He was like, because she had it coming. I said, And everyone looked at me. I said, I did not teach her. I don't know where he got that from. I said, what does that mean, son? That is crazy talk. What does that mean? And then he just started crying like he was Tupac. These kids keep fucking with me. I told his teacher, I said, well, now wait a minute. This kid is a lot of things, but he's not a liar. And if he said they was fucking with him, they did something to him. Son, what's going on? What did they do to you? Oh, Dad, I'm tired of this shit. It's been going on all week. I said, what's going on all week? He said, what? He said, and that bitch bit my sandwich. I said, oh. See, this is the fourth time this week. I'm tired of this sandwich biting bitch. I said, stop using that word. Let's go home. That's a quiet car ride home. We got to the house, he just ran right up to his room, slammed the door. His mother came downstairs. By then, she had heard about everything. She was looking at me like, oh my. She said, you bit that goddamn sandwich, didn't you? I said, I'm tired of you accusing me of shit. And I just ran out of the house, jumped in my car and drove off. Of course I bit that sandwich. But I knew that she was just really mad about that tape, so now she was going to punish me about a fuck. Look, honestly, I'll stop talking about it. Let me say this, though. Let me just say this. Can we all just say that we've seen it coming? Were you surprised? It's like when that guy threw that banana at me. Do you think I was surprised? Hell no. I've been in show business 30 years. I was expecting this banana. I knew one of these nights, it's like somebody gonna throw a banana at me one of these nights, niggas. Because that's how it starts, with the name calling. Like that Paula Deen. Remember Paula Deen got fired from the Food Network? If you know anything about show business, it is really hard to get fired from the fucking Food Network. And they dropped that bitch like a hot potato. All because she called somebody an N-word 30 years before she had a show. I don't know who she said it to, but whoever it was just looking at her like, I'm gonna get you for this bitch. That shit came back 30 years later like a Bill Cosby rape and sunk a battleship. And every black person was mad, but we weren't like that mad. I was just like, well, how's this bitch gonna call me a nigga when she taught me how to fry chicken? That's not fair. I think Donald Sterling shit was more serious. Remember Donald Sterling? He used to own the Clippers, and then he got caught on a secretly recorded tape saying some very unsavory things about African Americans. And there's a lesson in that for all of us. The lesson is, if you are old and white and racist in this great country, whatever you do, don't tell your black girlfriend about that shit, because that's who made the tape. She recorded all that shit, and the tape was terrible. He was like, stop bringing these black guys to my games. First, we're all confused, like, well, how the fuck are you gonna have a game without us? But it turned out that the black guy he was speaking of was none other than Magic Johnson, the billionaire. Unbelievable. Never even mentioned the fact that he had AIDS, which is... This guy must be really racist if AIDS is the footnote. Well, you gotta be careful, baby. He got the old Ebola. You can say what you want about that girl, but I'm gonna tell you right now, she is a goddamned hero. Because you might have thought these things were happening before, but now you can see it all in front of you without a shadow of a doubt. That shit actually went down. She sucked that old guy's dick. She really took one for the team on that one. It's really gross. This dick is like 80 years old. It's like tasting history. Like 5 wars on it, civil rights movement, Great Depression. This guy's been fucking from 40 years before Bill Cosby's first rape. This is a very old man. It's a very old penis. But all that shit is still, it's just name calling. Like, name calling does not break the modern black man. That's not gonna do the trick. I don't give a fuck about that. Like, if I went to Kentucky Fried Chicken, Ku Klux Klan, hood on top of their head, what do you think I'm gonna do in this day and age? Run out of Kentucky Fried Chicken? Not if I'm hungry. I'll go straight to the front. Hey, man, let me get a 2-piece. I don't give a fuck what he says. You want a biscuit with that, nigger? I thought it came with a biscuit. What's all this attitude? I want a two-piece. Chop, chop. You know what it is. But I'm not going to be mad. Why would I be mad? He's the one that's got to work at Kentucky Fried Chicken, not me. Well, how about this? What if I lived in Austin and I had a white girlfriend? It's possible in Austin. As a matter of fact, some people say it's necessary, but that's not the point. And me and my white girlfriend at home one night, and we're just doing what lovers do. Maybe she's butt naked and she's down on one knee, giving me a hand job. I love a good hand job. And she's really jerking me off. You know, getting her obliques nice and tight. I got a huge dick, so she's like, And I'm like, wow, this really feels wonderful. I think I'm gonna come, nigger. I know, that's a tough one. But what do you think I'm gonna do? Hey! That's no time for integrity, ladies and gentlemen. I'm busting that nut in her face. I'll sort through the ethics later. But I'm what they call a man of his word. If I say I'm coming, oh, I'm coming. I don't give a fuck what happens. God forbid somebody could shoot me. If I say I'm coming, it's still like, oh. Doesn't mean I like getting shot. Boy. Yeah, tough time for the blacks. I'm not gonna say nothing about the police. I'll leave that for Chris Rock. Ebola was in Texas. Ebola made a visit. Killed that man in Dallas. 5 days that man melted to death. What happened to the brother in Dallas? Where was the secret serum is what we all said. I remember in the beginning of Ebola, there were 2 American doctors that got sick in Africa. They flew them in a private jet straight to Atlanta to the CDC. I didn't even know CDC saw patients. There it was said they administered what the New York Times called a secret serum. I don't know what's in it. It's just like Colonel Sanders' recipe. But both of these motherfuckers survived. These doctors, thank God, are healthy. They are out there somewhere tonight at Whole Foods, touching vegetables, walking around. Everything's okay. Hey, Frank, how are you? Oh, you didn't hear? I had Ebola last week, but I'm doing all right now. I was bleeding out of my eyes and anus, so I got concerned, but I'm okay. What happened to the brother in Dallas? They just rubbed some Vicks on that nigga. I knew he wasn't gonna make it. I already knew. Sad. I saw in the New York Times, they said Ebola is the new AIDS. Whew. Isn't that something? Here I am thinking that old AIDS was working just fine. And they already have a new AIDS out. Isn't that amazing how they do that? Isn't it weird how there's a disease that just starts in 1980 and it doesn't kill anybody but niggas, fags, and junkies? Isn't that a fucking amazing coincidence that this disease hates everybody that old white people hate? I think either God is white or the government hid that shit in disco balls. Only fun people get AIDS. Last month on the front of the New York Times, the measles was a headline. I had to check the date of the paper. I was like, measles, what is this, 1850? What the fuck is this? Why is measles in the news? Turns out they were trying to decide if mandatory vaccinations for children is the way we all want to go. Any thoughts? I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know. I don't know about this one. First of all, black people generally don't trust doctors. You know, after the Tuskegee experiments and all that shit. More importantly, don't forget Michael Jackson was killed by a doctor. Granted, he was doing drugs, but if I was a heroin addict and I had a licensed physician injecting heroin in me, I should survive that. I just be looking like, oh, I'm good, right? I'm good. It's not too much, is it? Dr. Butterfingers killed Michael Jackson. After that, I was like, fuck going to the doctor. The fuck am I getting my kids vaccinated for an old-ass disease like measles? This is ridiculous. You might as well give them a diarrhea shot if you're so worried. Diarrhea has a bigger body count than the measles do. You know, diarrhea is funny today, but 100 years ago, if your ass had diarrhea, you were a goner. There was like a 0 chance of survival. You get that first squirt, uh-oh. Better start getting my affairs in order. But I don't have much time. It's diarrhea. It's very serious. You just watch your buddy slowly die in a pool of his own shit. I give up diarrhea. Nowadays, your buddy just be like, oh, well, you got diarrhea? Just eat a banana, nigga, drink some water, let's get to the club. Still make last fucking sandwich I bit. I was mad as fuck. You know what I said to myself? I said, I should just never go home. Fuck this shit. You know, by the way, that's how people used to get divorced in the 40s. Wasn't no divorce court in America. Back in those days, if you want to get out your marriage, you just tell your wife, hey, baby, I'm going to get a pack of cigarettes. I'll be right back. You would just leave with the clothes on your back. That's when men were men. And there was no internet back then, so you could move 11 miles away and have a whole new life. But I ended up going back home. Late at night. I came in the room and she was actually changing for bed. You can always tell your wife is mad at you when they cover their titties up when you're walking. Oh. Let those titties out. It's me, baby. Can we just talk about this for a minute? She said, David, there's nothing to talk about. I already know you bit the sandwich. And don't go looking for the lunch. I hid it. I said, I don't want to talk about the sandwich, baby. I want to talk about it. The tape. I know that's why you're mad. It was a very difficult conversation. I had to crack a few jokes, and we started talking, and then she cracked a few jokes that hurt my feelings, honestly, but... We talked, and you know what she told me? She told me that she was madder about the second extortion tape than she was about the first one. Which doesn't make sense at all. What's wrong with a guy touching his own private parts? It's my own business. It's not like I do it all the time. As a matter of fact, sometimes I do it for her benefit. A lot of guys do this. It's called the mercy jerk. That's the one that happens in the middle of the night when you're about to roll on top of it and you see her face and you're like, she looks tired. That takes a lot of love and discipline to back out of a room with a rock hard dick. Sometimes I don't make it. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Someone fell asleep with their socks off, didn't they? You can't rape feet. You can't rape feet. Only time I jerk off now is in the game. Sometimes she'll tell me, Dave, I'm going to take the kid to my mom real quick. Probably be back in a couple of hours. A couple hours? You can get a good one in 2 hours. That's the kind of session where you'll take all your clothes off. I'll be butt naked in the living room like, get these fucking toys out of my way. Disgusting. Foot all on the coffee table, just stroking it out, taking my time. And I got a bowl of cereal waiting for me right here. That's when you have the privacy, you can have a loud orgasm. I miss those. Ah! 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 You know, when a guy busts a nut, like right after that, there's a window of like 6 minutes where he does the most rational thing he ever does. That's when he's always horrified. Ah! God, what have I done? Oh my God, it's everywhere. Thank you very much, Austin, Texas. I had a wonderful time. Be well, be happy. Good night, everybody.
30 years in this industry.
Yeah, man, you know, it's funny. So my youngest son is 14 now. That's not what I was when I started. You know, I'm 44 now, I look at him, and I think all the things that were going on around me at that time and what it was like starting, and now I can't imagine that that's what happened, but at the time it felt very natural, and it felt very safe, even though it was not. You know, I mean, but I'm just grateful, man, like, to be able to do something like this for 30 years, I gotta be one of the luckiest people alive, man. Like, I don't know that I've ever really had any other job.
How old were you when you made your first TV development deal?
19. My mother and my grandmother were freaked out. You know, I was the first person in my family not to go to college that had not been a slave.
Right.
So I was really breaking from tradition, and it was like a graduation lunch we were having, and they had my dad come and talk to me, and my dad takes me outside, and he's like, listen, and this is some advice that applies to all you acting students. He says, to be an actor is a lonely life. Everybody wants to make it, and you might not make it. And I said to my dad, well, that depends on what making it is, Dad. He was a smart-ass kid.
Yeah.
It depends on what making it is, Dad. He says, what do you mean? I said, well, you're a teacher. I said, if I could make a teacher salary doing comedy, I think that's better than being a teacher. And he started laughing. He said, if you keep that attitude, I think you should go. He said, but name your price in the beginning. If it ever gets more expensive than the price you name, get out of there. Mm-hmm. Thus, Africa.
When Martin Lawrence was in that chair, we talked about Blue Streak.
I love that dude.
He played a role in your life, I believe. How do you feel about him as a person, as an artist?
Martin Lawrence is the guy that showed everybody you can make it from D.C. to Hollywood. And I had a personal stake in his success. Every time he did something, it made me feel inspired and really good. And he was always real nice to me. He'd sit me down, what's going on with you, baby boy? What? We'd talk about comedy, whatever. And, you know, when we did Blue Streak, we were promoting it, and Martin had a stroke. He almost died. And then after that, I saw him, and I was like, oh, my God, Martin, are you okay? And he said, I got the best sleep I ever got in my life. That's how tough he is. So let me ask you this. What is happening in Hollywood that a guy that tough will be on the street waving a gun, screaming, they are trying to kill me?
Yeah.
What's going on? Why is Dave Chappelle going to Africa? Why does Mariah Carey make a $100 million deal and take her clothes off on TRL? A weak person cannot get to sit here and talk to you. Ain't no weak people talking to you. So what is happening in Hollywood? Nobody knows. The worst thing to call somebody is crazy, is dismissive. I don't understand this person, so they're crazy. That's bullshit. These people are not crazy. They're strong people. Maybe the environment is a little sick. You know, in the past, I used to always tell a lot of jokes about white people. And I know there's a lot of white people here with us tonight. Good evening, whites. Everybody knows what it's like to be embarrassed or to be feel marginalized. The implication is authority. Nobody likes authority figures. When I say jokes about white people, don't think for a second that I'm talking about you. Don't forget, I almost had $50 million once. When you make enough money in America, they'll pull back the curtain and introduce you to the real white people. You guys just think you're white.
Dave Chappelle is very intelligent. He's well raised. That goes without saying. A person who is well raised knows to respect the elders. It doesn't mean that you have to agree with anything, even a little bit of what the elder says, but you respect the elder for surviving.
It's so much bigger than money, though, Dave. It's so much bigger than money.
Oh, no, it was bigger than money. But you know what? I watched one of these nature shows one time, and they were talking about how a bushman finds water when it's scarce. And they do what's called a salt trap. I didn't know this. Apparently, baboons love salt.
Okay.
So they put a lump of salt in a hole, and they wait for the baboon. The baboon comes, sticks his hand in the hole, grabs the salt makes his hand bigger, and he's trapped. He can't get his hand out. Now, if he's smart, all he does is let go of the salt. Baboon doesn't want to let go of the salt. Then the bushman just comes, takes the baboon, throws him in the cage, and gives him all the salt he wants. And then the baboon gets thirsty. The bushman lets him out the cage. The first place the baboon runs to is water. The bushman follows him, and they both drink to their fill. And in that analogy, I felt like the baboon. But I was smart enough to let go of the salt.
Well, veteran of comedy, people look to you to kind of clear the fog that we as Americans go through. I know you take that seriously, but is that a big burden on you, that people look to you for clarity, they look for you for truth?
I think that it's a symptom of just how maybe bankrupt our society is right now, that we're looking to our entertainers for this type of guidance. But when things are obscure, artists do try to tell the truth. Sometimes it's not like they're looking for the truth. Sometimes they just want to hear their truth come out of somebody else. Like, why don't, you know what I mean? So I don't look at it as a burden, or I don't even look at it as a responsibility. I just think it's the nature of the genre. And I think that one of the things that's special about our genre in this day and age is that it's very engaging. It's very personal. And I think in this cyberspace world that people need an entertainer that looks them in the eyes and says the things that they feel.
For all the things that I've done, I'm most renowned for what I didn't do. I've made decisions in my career that a lot of people have called insane. 2004, had a $50 million deal on the table, and in a crisis of conscience, flipped the table over and walked away. Went to South Africa. Everyone said I was running away from the money. That is not true. In fact, I still want that money. The idea that I wanted to just share with you guys is the idea that sometimes you do what you think is best, whether anybody understands it or not. I heard a story about my father where someone told me he used to do statistics for a company in D.C. The company he did statistics for started doing business with the South African government, so he quit his job. It's caused a lot of problems between him and his wife. It's hard for a man when he can't provide for his family the way he wants to, and he suffered through it. And a generation later, when I had my crisis of conscience, I was able to go to a free South Africa and get away from the heat. This idea that what you do in your lifetime informs the generations that comes after you is something I keep thinking about, something that is so much bigger than just ourselves. I just want you guys to remember, you know, that right now there's this thing where ethics aren't what they used to be. This idea that people are trying to replace the ideas of good and bad with better or worse. And that is incorrect. You gotta keep your ethics intact, because good and bad is a compass that helps you find the way. And a person that only does what's better or worse is the easiest type of person to control. They are a mouse in a maze that just finds the cheese. But the one who knows about good and bad will realize that he's in a maze.
This is my last question for you. You don't do many sit-down TV interviews. Why is that?
Because so much of an answer depends on how you feel any given day, but it lives forever. That your opinions about things can change, your view of yourself can change, and yet this is on a permanent record. Like Donald Trump, he complains about it because someone can look at him and say, well, you said in 1984 that this, that, or the other, and that's the cross you have to bear when you engage the press. And more important than that, I talk for a living, so I don't want to blather about me blathering. You know what I mean? I'd rather just do it.
Well, this has been fucking wonderful. I don't know what to say, man. I don't even want this night to end. I promise you, whoever cares the most, I care at least as much as them. I know what I got, because I lost it all. I gotta tell you something, and I don't talk about it often. Have you ever worked all your life for something and have it not work out? That happened to me. It was tough. Think about it. I was gone for 12 years. It's not a little bit of time. It was hell. I watched other niggas that I knew become very famous. I watched the world go on without me. I mourned the loss of it, and after a while, I didn't care. Coming back was terrifying. I understand what I am. I really do, more than anybody. Like when they write about me in history, I'll be dead reading it like, yeah, I knew they'd say that. They say that a person can't dream of a face they've never seen. Can't believe that's true, but it's probably true. Boy, I got a long bank of faces. 32 years, I could close my eyes, I could think of any night. There's so many faces. Every night, most nights, they're all looking up, smiling. You have no idea what the world looks like from there. All different races, all different colors, all different kind of beliefs, just looking at me, smiling for 32 years, night after night. No comedian take that for granted. I swear to God, this might be the noblest of professions. Robin Williams had a bar that I loved. He said comedy is the only job you can have where you can use everything you know. And that's true. You can use more than you know. You can use what you think. Use it. Don't be afraid. Don't let these bitch-ass niggas button your lip. Say it anyway.
I first became aware of Dave Chappelle right around before the first Nutty Professor, because I was supposed to play that role that he played. And then I kind of saw him, and I was like, hey, that guy, right, that kid would be funny playing that role.
I try to be peaceful, but now it's time for Reggie to karate-size your ass. Woo!
Dave is so much smarter than everyone. Like, Dave is one of the most, maybe the most intellectual comedian ever.
It took us 400 years to figure out as a people that white people's weakness the whole time was kneeling during their national anthem. That's a brittle spirit. That's right, nigga. On the rock, it's regular. Ah! Ah! What are you doing, nigga? Stand up!
He stretched the art form and his impact on the culture. He is the voice of his generation, without question. Nobody's even close to him.
No, I've had to learn, and that's where Dave Chappelle has been a wonderful friend and mentor.
What did Chappelle say to you that helped you with that?
Chappelle said to me, we were doing a show at Radio City together. It was during his run.
Right.
And I was on one of the shows, and he said to me, I said, man, what am I going to tell these? Because I was like, I'm going to do comedy before Dave Chappelle. I was like, Dave, what am I even doing here? And Dave said, and I said, I don't even know if I'm funny enough to be here. I said, you're nice, and I think I'm a really funny guy, but what am I doing here? And Dave said, look, man, he said, you don't understand something. He said, you're not here because you're funny. He says, I know 100 funny motherfuckers out there. He said, you're here because you're interesting. And he said, anyone can be funny. Not everybody can be interesting. Not everyone can make an audience listen to what they're saying. Not everyone has a wealth of life experience that makes people want to know what they have in their minds. And so that changed my perspective on silence. And so now, if I can hear that an audience is listening, I'm engaged.
Well, that is a great piece of advice, not only for comics, but for anybody, because, wow, the thing that I love about Chappelle, and you just identified it, is he will go.
He's interesting.
And he is an interesting guy.
He's the most interesting man I've ever met. That's what makes Dave Chappelle. Many people are funny. There's a lot of funny stand-up comedians all over the world.
Yes.
But what makes Dave Chappelle is that he is interesting. It's how he sees the world between the jokes.
But all jokes aside, Kevin Spacey shouldn't have done that shit to that kid. He's 14 years old and was forced to carry a grown man's secret for 30 years. Jesus Christ, he must have been busting at the seams with that one. The saddest part is, if he were able to carry that secret for 6 more months, I would get to know how House of Cards ends.
Loved was, I can't believe that I've been in this business long enough that we're like the older guys now. It always blows my mind that I'm like 5 years older than Dave Chappelle, because he was already a made guy when I came in. So I always look at him like he's got 10 years on me, or 15. And, just when I watch his act, I'm like, this guy's clearly been doing this a good couple of decades longer than me. And the reality is, I think he's only been doing it like 6 years longer than I have, or something like that. He's fucking amazing. And what I love too is just, he's that same, with all that's changed, everybody getting offended, all of this fucking crap, how you get in trouble, he hasn't changed at all. He's just like that same guy that I saw way back in the day when I used to go to the Boston Comedy Club and watch him go on at like 2 a.m. and just start murdering at 2 a.m. And I remember I used to always sit there going, how do you do that? How are you that funny at 2 a.m. in front of a crowd that gave up on the show like an hour ago, and they're tired and they just want to go home? That second he steps on stage, boom, he just starts fucking killing.
Dave's a beast. Dave's a beast, man. That's the only man that puts a little fear in my heart. I'm like, okay,
it's real.
What's he doing?
Do you watch him? Watch him?
Totally.
You study?
Totally. I got Chappelle. I got an app. I follow him. I'm like, my man Prince Paul always says, competition keeps you in condition.
True.
So yeah, that's my man right there.
The other real special shout out I gotta make, because none of this would have been possible on any level without this person, is my mother. Mom. My mother. Mom. You have no idea what I put this woman through. If you had just given birth to me, that would have been more than enough. But the fact that she raised me and raised me well, we had a real oral tradition in our house. I knew the word griot when I was a little boy. A griot was a person in Africa who's charged with keeping the stories of the village. Everyone would tell a griot the stories, and they would remember them all so that they could tell future generations. And when they got old, they'd tell them to someone else. And they say in Africa, when a griot dies, it's like a library was burnt down. And my mother used to tell me, before I ever thought about doing comedy, she said, you should be a griot. And she'd fill me with every story of black life. You know, she's educated in African American studies, and she would let me understand the context that I was being raised in, that I'm being raised in a hostile environment that I have to tame. By the time I was 14 years old, I was in nightclubs, mastering an adult world. It was terrifying. The crack epidemic was going on, and my mother would hear gunshots outside and be scared to death. Maybe it's my son. But early in my career, if you remember, Mom, you used to sit in the club with me. She'd do a full day of work. You'd be back there falling asleep, just waiting for me to go on. She would watch my show every night. Do you know how long that car ride is home? How many of you have ever heard your mother say, pussy jokes were a little too much tonight, son? I was a soft kid. I was sensitive, I'd cry easy, and I would be scared to fist fight. And my mother used to tell me this thing, I don't even know if you remember, but you said this to me more than once. You said, son, sometimes you have to be a lion so you can be the lamb you really are. I talk this shit like a lion. I'm not afraid of any of you. When it comes word to word, I will gab with the best of them, just so I can chill and be me. And that's why I love my art form, because I understand every practitioner of it. Whether I agree with them or not, I know where they're coming from. They want to be heard. They got something to say. There's something they notice. They just want to be understood. Love this genre. It saved my life. Time I was on stage, the guy that introduced me was a guy named J.T. Newton. I'm 47. I can close my eyes and remember the introduction like it was yesterday. It went like this. Ladies and gentlemen, this next young man coming to the stage is starting his comedy career tonight. Who knows? We may be witnessing the birth of a star. Please welcome Dave Chappelle. From the first time that I ever held a microphone, I was sure this was it. I knew I was home. I knew I had found my thing. And my God, man, I was a child. I got good. Matter of fact, I was good from the moment I started. And I'm not saying this to be a braggart. I'm telling you the truth. These old niggas was in awe of me. How is this little boy so poised? They used to say. I was. I mean, you know, I got better, but it started out good. About a year into it, when I was 15 years old, I had written a joke during the AIDS epidemic about having a Goodyear condom. Something, I don't even remember the joke. Something about an industrial strength condom by Goodyear. I just remember all the comedians really liked that joke. And there was an older comedian. And he came to me one night after the show, after he saw the joke, and he said, listen, I got an audition at another comedy club, and I was wondering, do you mind if I do that joke? I just want to borrow it. Now, I'm a kid. I don't know any better. I'm like, borrow it? Well, I guess, sure, if it'll help your career. I let him do the joke. And then weeks later, I was waiting to go on in a comedy club, and he went on before me, and he did the joke. And after the show, I pulled him aside, and I said, hey, man, I don't mind you borrowing my jokes, but you got to give them back. He said, oh, I forgot to ask you. He goes, let me buy that joke from you for $50. And I said, man, I'd do it, but I'm just starting out. I need all the material I can get. The idea being that the more material I can accumulate, the faster I'll be able to make money for my work. I said, I can't do it. I want my joke back. I'll never forget this. Remember, I was a 15-year-old child. This guy was a grown-ass man. He stood up over me so I could see how big he was. And he said to me, really? I can just take it. And he did. I got scared because I was a child. But I never forgot that. I never forgot that. I was 15 years old. I'm 47 now. I think about this guy all the time. When I look at my own kids and I see how young and innocent they are, I can't believe someone did that to me. And I don't think about it every day because that was the worst thing that happened to me. I think about it every day because that was the first time that someone ever did that to me. But in my career, it has happened many, many times since, where someone would intimidate me or scare me and take something that I believe was mine. I'll tell you another story. Now I'm 18 years old. I'm living in New York City, and I just finished my first road tour, which was a very difficult tour. I'll spare you the details. Now I'm back in New York, but my rent is paid, thank God. And I have $60 to my name, and a woman that I had met in Pittsburgh, a bad Dominican bitch, was coming to New York. She was going to spend the weekend with me. I couldn't wait for her to get there. She was coming that evening. But remember, I only had $60 for a whole weekend to entertain a bad bitch. Now I'm walking through Greenwich Village, and I see something I've never seen before. 3-card Monte. You know what that is? Yeah, the guy had the whole thing. The table was set up, and he had the 3 cards, and the crowd was hooting and hollering, and he was like, find the red card, find the red card, and people were playing. Sometimes they win, sometimes they lose, but it was really exciting, and I'm standing there watching it, and I noticed while I'm watching them play this game that the red card, the one you're trying to find, had just a little bend on the corner. And I'm watching it, and I'm like, yo, this guy doesn't seem to know that red card is bent. I'm going to beat this motherfucker. And I walked up to the table, and I said, let me play a hand. And I put my last $60 on that table, and he starts to shuffle and find the red card, find the red card. And I kept watching that bent card go around the table, make sure I kept my eyes on that bent card. And when he stopped shuffling, and he said, find the red card, I pointed to it with confidence. Here it is right here. And he flipped it over, and it was black. And he took my money. I couldn't fucking believe that. How did this nigga do that? Was that magic or sorcery? I was confused. So you know what I did? I sat there, and I watched him for a real long time play the game. And I realized that all those people who was doing all that hooting and hollering and betting, my God, they were his friends. They were in on the whole thing. I felt so wronged. I felt so stupid. And then the next sucker came up to the table and was about to put his money down. And I said, fuck that, man. Don't put your money there. All these niggas is in on it. It's a trick. And when I said that, the guy that was dealing, and this motherfucker was huge, snatched me up by my collar. Feel how strong he was when he grabbed me. I was a skinny little guy. And he was gonna maul me. The only reason he didn't, I'm sure, is because he saw the fear in my face. And that fear, he looked at me. I saw his eyes go from hard to soft. He softened. Then he looked at me like the way a father would look at a child. And he said to me, young man, don't ever come between a man and his meal. I never forgot that either. Most niggas would have to run the streets for years to learn a lesson that profound. It took me 2 seconds. Never get between somebody and their paper. Taking a man's livelihood away from him is akin to killing him. Do you know why Prince, the famous rock star that was a friend of mine, do you know why he called himself the artist when he came back? He calls himself the artist because that's what they call us in our contracts. Oh, these contracts are crazy. You should hear the terminology they say in these contracts. To use your name and likeness in perpetuity throughout the universe. Who the fuck could possibly know what that means? Nobody does. It's so complicated, in fact, that when you're a kid like me, you have to hire somebody to tell you what that means. And you sit down at a table and you do the contract game. And that's how I got with Comedy Central. I signed the contract. But I signed the contract the way that a 28-year-old expectant father that was broke signs a contract. I was desperate. I needed a way out. And it wasn't good money and it wasn't good circumstances. But what else am I going to do, I said. And all these white people sitting at that table told me, trust us, Dave, it's a good contract. And I looked around the table and they all seemed to agree it was a good contract. But what if it was like that game of three-card Monte? What if they were all friends and I didn't know it? And the bag of money was Iceberg's money in the first place. What was I talking about? What was I trying to tell you? Last week, 2 weeks ago, whenever it was, I call Lauren Michaels and I tell him, okay, I'll do it. I'll do Saturday Night Live on election night. And the day I made that phone call, the day I committed to it, it gets announced that Netflix is streaming Chappelle's show. Not just Netflix. HBO Max is streaming it too. Let me tell you another story about HBO. No, hear me out. Did you know, before Chappelle's show was at Comedy Central, I pitched that show to HBO. I told them what I wanted to do. Now, these are executives. All they have to do is say, yeah, we'll take it, or no, thank you, we won't. But they didn't say either of those things. They went too far. They said, literally, what do we need you for? That's what they told me, as they kicked me out of the office. What do we need you for? And here we are, all these years later, and they're streaming the very show that I was pitching to them. So I'm asking them, what do you need me for? People think I made a lot of money for Chappelle's show. When I left that show, I never got paid. They didn't have to pay me because I signed the contract. But is that right? I found out that these people were streaming my work and they never had to ask me or they never had to tell me. Perfectly legal because I signed the contract. But is that right? I didn't think so either. That's why I like working for Netflix. I like working for Netflix because when all those bad things happened to me, that company didn't even exist. And when I found out they were streaming Chappelle's show, I was furious. How could they not know? So you know what I did? I called them and I told them that this makes me feel bad. And do you want to know what they did? They agreed that they would take it off their platform just so I could feel better. That's why I fuck with Netflix. Because they paid me my money, they do what they say they're gonna do, and they went above and beyond what you could expect from a businessman. They did something just because they thought that I might think that they were wrong. And I do. I think if you are fucking streaming that show, you're fencing stolen goods. They stole that from me. They just took it. And I'm not up here trying to tell you guys that I believe that Comedy Central gave me a raw deal just because I'm black. I believe that they gave me a raw deal because this fucking industry is a monster. It's the same monster that these Me Too bitches was trying to tell you about. But they hate the monster for how it fucks. And I hate that monster for how it eats. But my God, man, it's the same monster. When I quit the show, all my friends would say, well, fuck them, Dave. Why don't you just do Chappelle's show at another network? Yeah. And why doesn't a slave run from one plantation to another plantation? Because the master over there might be nicer. My God, man, I was trapped. You know what? Tell you the truth. I've even thought about coming back and doing another Chappelle show. Well, but if I do, I can't call it Chappelle's Show because my name and likeness is being used by them in perpetuity throughout the universe. It's in the contract. You're not supposed to do this in my business. I'm up here doing something that nobody else in this business has the balls to do. I'm telling you something that you need to know. I'm trying to explain to you what you're seeing. You don't understand what you're seeing. I am publicly flogging a network. And I know that this network niggas, they watching me and they saying, why are you doing this so publicly? Doesn't feel good to be flogged publicly. Oh, believe me, I know. I know exactly how that feels. When I quit my show, they said I was crazy. What was crazy about it? I just didn't want to do it anymore. They said I smoked crack. That's impossible. I was a devout Muslim. I didn't smoke or drink. But I do now, bitch, because you ruined my fucking life. Now it's their turn. This is their first nigga lesson, and I'm honored to give it to them. They're gonna pay me for this show. I called my agent. I said, is there anything I can do about this show? And he said, no. Well, fuck you too then. If you want something done right, I guess you gotta do it yourself. So I'm not going to the agents. I'm coming to my real boss. I'm coming to you. I'm begging you, if you ever liked me, if you ever think there was anything worthwhile about me, I'm begging you, please don't watch that show. I'm not asking you to boycott any network. Boycott me. Boycott Chappelle's Show. Do not watch it unless they pay me. If you're a shareholder at Viacom, then I'm talking to you. Because all that shit that they do to us, well, they do everything for their shareholders. That's what they told me. So if you're a shareholder in that company, tell them it's wrong. And if you don't believe that it's wrong, then fuck you too. You should know what's in the hot dogs you eat. Now, there's probably a bunch of people at Comedy Central and Viacom and all these places that have no idea what I'm talking about. They've all either quit or been fired or got Me Too'd or something. Them niggas is gone. And there's a whole bunch of new young people there, and they're probably looking like, what is he talking about? They may not actually know what the fuck happened to me. So I'll tell you what I'm talking about. Go downstairs to your accounting department, open the books, see what that show made, and look at what you paid me. That's exactly what I'm talking about. You're going to pay me. I am inviting you to come with me and work with me, and let's fight against that terrible, terrible feeling that you made me feel together. We can fight together and work this thing with Chappelle's Show out. Or I can just take it. Thank you. And now we get to the core of the crisis. What is a woman? What is that in this day and time? Is there even such thing as a woman or a man or anything? Seems to be a question nowadays. Now listen, women get mad at me, gay people get mad at me, lesbians get mad at me, but I'm gonna tell you right now, and this is true, these transgenders, these niggas want me dead. I've gone too far, I've said too much. And I gotta tell you, I'm very worried about it. I'm not even joking. Every time I come out on stage, I be scared. I be looking around the crowd, searching for knuckles and Adam's apples to see where the threats might be coming from. A nigga came up to me on the street the other day. He said, "Careful, Dave, they after you." I said, "What? One they or many theys?" How old is 15 really? Oh, that's a good question. That's a good question. I'm not saying that a person is as smart as they're going to be at 15. That's not what I'm saying, man. But I am saying 15 to me is old enough to decide whether or not you want to be pissed on. I mean, that's me. If you can't make a decision like that by the time you're 15, then just give up, motherfucker, because life is way harder than that. I make tougher decisions all the time. If you don't want to get pissed on, just get the fuck out of the way. It's not even a decision. If I start peeing on the front row, they're not going to have to calculate and think, oh, how do I feel about this? Am I okay with it? They just move. You can do that at 15. I could have. I've been 15. When I was 15, I was doing stand-up in nightclubs. I smoked reefer from time to time. Friends were selling crack. I was trying to finger fuck people. I knew what was happening around me to some degree. Getting pissed on was the least of my worries at 15. Trust me. But it keeps coming up. There's a lot of confusion around that age. Anytime 15 comes up, people freak out. Like when that girl, Elizabeth Smart, got kidnapped. Right? Remember in Utah last year, 15-year-old girl Elizabeth Smart was kidnapped, and then they finally found her, and the whole country was relieved. And I was the only one saying, damn, she wasn't that smart after all. Now, because she got kidnapped, that could happen to anybody. I'm not knocking her for that. I'm just saying, if you kidnapped me when I was 15, you gotta take me further than 8 miles away from my house, man. God damn. You can't hold me prisoner around shit I recognize. I'll break away. I'll break away. Fuck off me, nigga. That's my bus stop. I know where I'm at. I'm going home. She was missing for 6 months, 8 miles away from my house. It was a great night. I remember the late, great Paul Mooney was there. A bunch of fly-ass comedy niggas was there. And we all went backstage and was just drinking and talking shit and laughing, and Daphne stole the room. She had everyone cracking up, spinning the yarn, telling us all these crazy stories about shit she be into. We all laughing real hard, and as she's telling us and everyone's laughing, I'm looking around, I'm like, oh my God, she is funny. I pulled her aside and I said, you're hilarious. I didn't know that when you were on stage. I said, you're doing some things wrong, but I can help you. I said, anytime I'm in San Francisco, why don't you open the show for me, and I'll just try to give you some pointers, see if you can't work this thing out. And she said, are you serious? I was like, yeah. And she grabbed me real tight, hugged me, squeezed me, and I pushed her off violently because I'm transphobic. I said, boundaries, bitch. When Sticks and Stones came out, a lot of people in the trans community were furious with me, and apparently they dragged me on Twitter. I don't give a fuck, because Twitter's not a real place. And the hardest thing for a person to do is go against their tribe if they disagree with their tribe. But Daphne did that for me. She wrote a tweet that was very beautiful. And what she said was, it was almost exactly what she said. She said, punching down on someone requires you to think less of them. And I know him, and he doesn't. He doesn't punch up, he doesn't punch down, he punches lines, and he's a master at his craft. That's what she said. Beautiful tweet. Beautiful friend. That took a lot of heart to defend me like that. And when she did that, the trans community dragged that bitch all over Twitter. For days, they was going in on her, and she was holding her own because she's funny. But 6 days after that wonderful night I described to you, my friend Daphne killed herself. Oh, yeah. It's a true story. My heart was broken. Yeah, it wasn't the jokes. I don't know if it was them dragging her. I don't know what's going on in her life, but I bet dragging her didn't help. I was very angry at them. I was very angry at her. I felt like Daphne lied to me. She always says she identified as a woman, and then one day she goes up to the roof of a building and jumps off and kills herself. Clearly, only a man would do some gangster shit like that. Hear me out. As hard as it is to hear a joke like that, I'm telling you right now, Daphne would have loved that joke. That's why she was my friend. I was reading her obituary, and I found out she was survived by a daughter. And the moment I found that out, and this is true, Anderson Cooper from CNN texted me. And all he said was very nice. He said, "I'm sorry to hear about your friend." And I texted him right back, "New phone, who this?" He said, "It's Anderson Cooper." I said, "Oh," I said, "Anderson." I go, "Look, I need to find her family." And he texted me right back with all the phone numbers and all this information. I say this to say, if you ever want to know about anything gay, call Anderson Cooper from CNN. This nigga is faster than Google. And what I did is I got in touch with her family and I started a trust fund for her daughter, because I know that's all she ever really cared about. And I don't know what the trans community did for her, but I don't care, because I feel like she wasn't their tribe. She was mine. She was a comedian in her soul. Her daughter is very young, but I hope to be alive when she turns 21, because I'm going to give her this money myself. And by then, I'll be ready to have the conversation that I'm not ready to have today. But I'll tell that little girl, "Young lady, I knew your father. And he was a wonderful woman."
Life can get tough, chills in my bones, working too much, weight on my soul, closing my eyes, let it all go, the least I can try.
Sometimes, sometimes racism works out in black people's favor. Now, it doesn't happen often. It happens very rarely, but when it happens, it is fucking sweet. I'm serious. This one time racism saved my life, man. I was on a plane. I was coming from overseas, and I don't know how this guy got a machine gun on the plane, but he stood up, man. He said, "Everybody, get on the fucking ground. Nobody look at my face." I started freaking out because he was Chinese. I was like, "Why is he talking like that?" He was screaming and crying. I was the only brother on the plane. Well, I thought I was the only brother. I looked over. There was one other black dude. He was from Nigeria. I looked over at him. He was looking right in my face, man. He didn't say two words to me. He just looked at me. He was like... He didn't need to talk. I knew just what he was talking about. I looked right back at him. I was like... Some white dudes on the front of the plane seen us. They were like, "Oh my God." try to save us. We were just communicating that we understood the situation. We were both seeing the same thing. What we understood was simple. Terrorists don't take black hostages. That's the truth. I have yet to see one of us on the news reading the hostage letters. They is treating us good. We all chilling and shit. I'd like to give a shout out to Ray Ray and Big Steve and Central Newport. You're not going to see it. Terrorists are smart. They know what they're doing there, you know. They terrorists. They know that black people's bad bargaining chips. They called the White House. Hello? We have got 5 black... Hello?
It's been said in the press that I was invited to speak to the transgender employees at Netflix, and I refuse. That is not true. If they had invited me, I would have accepted it, although I am confused about what we are speaking about. I said what I said, and boy, I heard what you said. My God, how could I not? You said you want a safe working environment at Netflix. Well, it seems like I'm the only one that can't go to the office anymore. I want everyone in this audience to know that even though the media frames this, that it's me versus that community, that is not what it is. Do not blame the LGBTQ community for any of this shit. This has nothing to do with them. It's about corporate interests and what I can say and what I cannot say. For the record, and I need you to know this, everyone I know from that community has been nothing but loving and supporting. So I don't know what all this nonsense is about. In summer 2020, when the whole world shut down, I was outside doing shows. My neighbor had a cornfield, and he let me throw shows there, and people came from all over the country. Some people came from around the world to see those shows. The best comedians on earth came to my home and broke bread with me. And we lived our lives. We found a way to keep moving forward. I made a whole documentary about it. The first night of those shows was a piece that some of you might have seen. It was called 846, and it dealt with the death, the murder of George Floyd. This film that I made was invited to every film festival in the United States, and some of those invitations I accepted. And when this controversy came out about the closer, they began disinviting me from these film festivals. And now, today, not a film company, not a movie studio, not a film festival, nobody will touch this film. Thank God for Ted Sarandos at Netflix. He's the only one that didn't cancel me yet. To the transgender community, I am more than willing to give you an audience, but you will not summon me. I am not bending to anybody's demands. And if you want to meet with me, I'd be more than willing to, but I have some conditions. First of all, you cannot come if you have not watched my special from beginning to end. You must come to a place of my choosing and a time of my choosing. And thirdly, you must admit that Hannah Gadsby is not funny. I desperately want people to see this movie, but I understand why investors would be nervous. Since nobody will touch it, I'll tell you what I'll do. I will make it available for all of you in 10 American cities, going on sale in the next few days. You will be able to see this movie in its entirety, and you can see what they're trying to obstruct you from seeing. And you can judge for yourself, but you cannot have this conversation and exclude my voice from it. That is only fair. You have to answer the question, am I canceled or not? Then let's go. Thank you very much, and good night.
You know who I feel real bad for is Indians. Everybody feels bad for Indians. They get dogged openly because everybody thinks they're dead. These motherfuckers are not all dead, all right? With my own eyes, I've seen a gathering of 1,500 Native Americans. They were all gathered in one place. The place is called Walmart in New Mexico. There's Indians everywhere. I've never seen Indians before. I wasn't even sure if they were Indians. It's fucked up, but I asked one of them. It's not nice, but I seen him in the sports section looking at bows and arrows. I had to say something. Excuse me. I don't mean to be rude. Are you an Indian? And he was cool. Yes. Yes, I'm Indian. Still didn't believe him. I had to test him to be sure. This is fucked up. But I had a gum wrapper in my pocket, so I balled that shit up and I threw it on the floor. And a single tear came out his eye. I said, oh shit. I had so many questions. So what tribe are you from? I am a Navajo. I said, word. I studied you in social studies. You're a hunter-gatherer, correct? He said, I guess so. That's what you wish to call it. I said, why? What do you call it? He said, I am an alcoholic. I said, well, what's your name, dog? He said, please. Dog is my cousin. That was a good guess. My name is Running Coyote. What is your name, friend? And that shit caught me off guard. I mean, I didn't want to say my name was Dave to a motherfucker named Running Coyote. This don't feel good enough. He just put me on the spot. I said, huh? My name, what? Oh, my name's Blackfeet. Then I changed the subject. Forget about me. What's going on with you? I want to meet your chief. Why don't me, you, and your chief and your friends get together tonight? We could have a real live peace pipe smoking ritual. We need to celebrate, nigga. I thought you were dead. And he set it up. It was beautiful. It was just like I dreamed. We was all sitting around. Them Indians was beating the drum. Some other Indians came out the back with a long blanket that was folded in half and put in front of us. Open that shit up, and on the blanket was a long wooden pipe with feathers. And bags of weed were all over the blanket. Chief walked over. The big ones are 50. The little ones are 25. And these are 10. Me and those Indians got high as shit.
I was baked. I told the chief, he was talking, I cut him off. Time out, chief. Sorry to interrupt. I'm fucking smashed, man. The weed's too strong. I'm itching. This is PCP. The spirits have got me. Chief, the spirits have got me. And the chief threw some water in my face. Calm down, blackface. Splash! I said, hey, it's black feet, motherfucker. Take it easy.
Blackfeet, you're welcome to stay amongst me and my tribe for the night until the spirits leave you.
And they gave me my own teepee to sleep in, which sounds nice. I personally felt like it was a little fucked up, you know, because they all had houses, man. It's like, why can't I sleep with y'all in the house and watch TV? Nigga, I can't be on this grass all night. Yeah, Indians is rude, man. Everybody's rude. Indians, they eat nasty food. All they ate was corn and shit. Doritos, I think they call it. That's right. People only see the surface. They see the division in our foods. Just because I eat chicken and watermelon. They think that that's something wrong with me. Let me tell you something. If you don't like chicken or watermelon, something is wrong with you, motherfucker. There's something wrong with you. Where are all these people that don't like chicken and watermelon? I'm sick of hearing about how bad it is. It's great. I'm waiting for chicken to approach me to do a commercial, nigga. I'll do it for free, chicken. It's the least I can do. They make fun of Latin people for eating, what y'all eat? Beans, rice, corn. Listen, that's not a reason to hate a motherfucker, all right? It's funny, but it's not a reason to hate. The only reason these things are even an issue is because nobody knows what white people eat. You've been very good at keeping that shit a secret amongst yourselves. I study white people. You don't know that. I'm writing a paper on you. Not even for school, nigga, just to do it, just to get, I'm just doing this independent research. I'm spending my money, that's why I'm working so hard. I follow you around grocery stores. They freak out. I just try to peek in the cart. They always say, get away from my cart, nigga. What are you looking at? Chicken and giblets are over there. You must be lost. These are vegetables. I know what you drink. See how quiet I got? Grape juice. Surprise, motherfuckers, you didn't know I knew about grape juice, did you? Oh, don't play dumb with me. Look at what is it? A lot of black people don't have the privilege of knowing about grape juice because they have grape drink. It's not the same formula that you get. Ain't no vitamins in that shit. You might have one of your black friends over, Todd. Todd, would you care for a glass of grape juice? What? Nigga, what the fuck is juice? I want some grape drink, baby. It's purple. I don't think I know what a grape drink is. What? I have some apple juice if you want. What the fuck is juice? I want some apple drink. Scream. Remember that commercial for Sunny Delight when all the kids run in from outside playing? And they all run to the fridge. All right, I got some purple stuff, some Sunny D. As soon as you say Sunny D, all the kids go, yeah! Watch the black kid in the back. If you ever see that commercial again, look at that black kid. He'd be like, I want that purple stuff. That's drink, nigga. That is drink. They want drink. I want all them vitamins, nigga. I want drink. Sugar, water, purple. That's the ingredient. Sugar, water, and of course, purple. It's too fucking much. I got a lot of things to talk about tonight. First of all, I've stopped smoking weed. With black people, you didn't let me finish, motherfuckers. God damn. I'm sorry, black people, to break the news so publicly, but I can't smoke with you anymore. Every time I smoke weed with my black friends, all you talk about is your trials and tribulations. I'm sick of that shit. I got my own problems. Nigga, that's a waste of weed. I'm smoking weed to run away from my problems, not take on yours. From now on, I smoke weed exclusively with white people. Calm down, motherfuckers. You win by default. You got good weed conversation. All white people talk about when they get high is other times that they got high. I can listen to that shit all night.
Dude, remember at Frank's last week? It's fucking smashed, man.
And catalogs everything they drink.
2 shots of Jaeger, tequila, 4 bong hits, man. Beer, cheeseburger.
That shit is great. Only bad part is you cannot pass out around white people. Every time white dudes pass out around each other, they always do some borderline gay shit when the guy's asleep.
Frank fell asleep, so we like stuck a carrot in his ass and put shaving cream on his balls.
Like, why, motherfucker? Why would you do that to a friend of yours? He trusted you enough to sleep around you. You gonna put a carrot in his ass? Is that nice? I tell you right now, if I put a carrot in a black dude's ass, a nigga will kill you when he wakes up for some shit like that. That is an automatic death sentence on the street. It's a rap for you. I'm gonna kill that motherfucker. I thought y'all was friends, baby. What happened? I fell asleep at his house, right? We was drinking, and I fell asleep at his house, and while I was sleeping, right? I'm just gonna kill that motherfucker, all right? That's all you need to know. And fuck carrots. The second time I met O.J. Simpson. Was right after the trial of the century. There I was, now a young man of probably 23. O.J. Simpson was the most famous or infamous face on planet Earth. I was in a restaurant in Beverly Hills with my agents. I wasn't alone in the restaurant, but I was alone. I was the only black person in the restaurant. And in the 90s, that felt very uncomfortable. Now I tend to enjoy it at this age. I was having dinner with my agents, celebrating a deal that they told me was lucrative, but I later learned fucking sucked. And suddenly, a group of women walked by. Every race was in that group. Black, white, Asian, Latina, white, and white again. They were all gorgeous. I watched them walk by. Then, I saw a familiar face. Al Collins, the man from the infamous Bronco check, towards the door. Couldn't believe what I saw. And then, close behind him, was O.J. Simpson, newly released from jail. The restaurant fell still. I was shocked. I didn't mean to say it out loud, but it just came out. O.J. He stopped, turned around to see who said it, saw my black face, and correctly assumed it was me. I was sitting in the corner of the booth. He leaned over all the white people I was having dinner with and shook my hand. How are you, young man? He looked in my eyes, and I could see in his eyes that he didn't remember meeting me the first time. And then he walked away. And I looked back at my agents, and all of them had nothing short of disgust on their faces. And the only one with the courage to voice their disgust was a woman named Sharon, who used to represent me. How could you, she said. How could you shake hands with that murderer? I said, Sharon, with all due respect, that murderer ran for over 11,000 yards. And he didn't fit. Glove didn't fit. Get over yourself. Some people can't do that. Some people just can't get over themselves. Gay people have a hard time doing that recently. Here we go. Here comes the deep water. No, recently I've noticed that. I noticed it with that Manny Pacquiao controversy. Yeah, no, it was now in the gay community's defense, Manny Pacquiao said some outlandish shit about gay people. Very, very not nice things that I won't repeat, but there was biblical verses and some analogies to animals. Wasn't a good look. Nike took his shoes immediately, which I thought was a little harsh. A little harsh. You know what I mean? Because he's, just because he's Asian. You know what I mean? Fuck, you gonna take shoes off Asian dude to appease a gay dude? You know what I mean? No? You don't know what I mean. But Asian people kind of know what I mean. No? No Asians in the front? No? No, this is what I mean. Okay, look, okay, you're an Asian dude. No, I say this with no disrespect, but we're all Americans, right? And we can agree that America has a huge body count all over the world, but nowhere more than Asia. Literally, if you look at history, recently, we have bombed the masculinity out of an entire continent. We dropped 2 atomic bombs on fucking Japan, and they've been drawing Hello Kitty and shit ever since. There's a lot of lady boys in the wake of our bombs. And I know these things because my wife is Asian. She's Filipino. All right, well, okay, so that explains it. Now you know why you see me at all those Filipino events. I'm not there picking up pussy, I'm dropping some off. I take my wife to all that shit. I took my wife to see Pacquiao fight Mayweather. We sat ringside, okay? That was a quiet car ride home. That's what that was. But if you know what's popping in the Philippines, you know that they got a whole generation of kids in the Philippines growing up without their mothers. Yes, a lot of women in the Philippines go to the Arabian Peninsula, they come to the United back home, which is still one of the #1 staples in the Philippines economy, money that their expats send back to the Philippines. The men, on the other hand, are left rearing children, twiddling their thumbs, waiting on their wives' checks. These men have been fucking emasculated. And then suddenly, a boxer rises from amongst them and reinstates their manhood with his motherfucking fist. This is not the guy you're supposed to ask, what do you think of homosexuals? He's not your champ. Shit. That's why I don't have a sneaker deal, because if you say something that people don't like, they'll take your fucking shoes off. Road ahead. They've got the longest mental gap to bridge. That's all I'm saying. Because, you know, whenever I see one of them T's on the street, I don't mind them, but I'll be like, man, I miss Bruce. I'm sorry, guys. I'm 42. I remember Bruce Jenner. Before the Kardashians, before all that, this motherfucker was a white American superhero. It was amazing. He was beating Africans at track and field. I don't care what your religious beliefs are or anything. If you have a dick, you need to shut the fuck up on this one. Seriously. This is theirs. The right to choose is their unequivocal right. Not only do I believe they have the right to choose, I believe that they shouldn't have to consult anybody except for a physician about how they exercise that right. Gentlemen, that is fair. And ladies, to be fair to us, I also believe if you decide to have the baby, a man should not have to pay. That's fair. If you can kill this motherfucker, I can at least abandon him. It's my money, my choice. And what I think the feminist movement needs to be very successful is a male leader. I'll do it. I will. I will lead you women to the promised land. I will make sure you get equal pay for equal work. I will make sure that nobody harasses you or fucks with you on the job. I will protect all of your interests. And all that I ask for in return is that you suck my dick. And now we're right back to square one, aren't we? I Googled the dictionary definition of a feminist just to make sure I was talking about the right thing. And do you know, sir, what the dictionary definition of a feminist is? I didn't either. Listen to this. Webster's defines a feminist as a human being, not a woman, a human being that believes in equal rights for women. I'm shocked that that's what that meant. Because by that definition, I would consider myself a feminist. And I didn't even know that at the time. All these years, I thought it meant frumpy dyke. Well, that's who's always talking, to be some chick in overalls. Men are trying to rape us. Ah, not you, bitch. We please.
Hey, you know what show I used to like to watch when I was little, though? Was that old Batman TV show. I used to think that was so cool, man. But I was watching it the other day, and it hit me. Kapow! Batman never fights crime in neighborhoods that need it. You know what I mean? Oh, really, man. I mean, I would like to see Batman fight crime in my neighborhood, all right? And I could see him, they just... Robin. Yes, Batman. Didn't we park the car right here, man?
Caitlyn Jenner, whom I've met, wonderful person. Caitlyn Jenner was voted Woman of the Year. Her first year as a woman. Ain't that something? Beat every bitch in Detroit. She's better than all of you. Never even had a period. Ain't that something? Oh, I'd be mad as shit if I was a woman. I'd be mad if I was me. If I was in a BET Awards sitting there and they're like, and the winner for Nigger of the Year, Eminem, my man. You know, America has a racial hot seat. I think we can all agree that that's the truth. And we can also agree that that hot seat is traditionally occupied by African Americans in general, African American men in particular. Although I can see that in recent years, that seat has been occupied by Mexicans, and I dare say Arabs. And we, the black Americans, would like to thank you both for your sacrifice and your struggle. We needed a break. We needed a goddamn break. We all go through something, but at least I can leave my backpack someplace. If you Arab and forget the backpack, you got about 20 minutes before they send that robot to blow your shit up. She says, my daughter is coming home for the holidays. Oh, that's great news. I'm glad you're not going to be alone. And then she goes on and on about how great her daughter is. I guess her daughter got a new agent, and she's out in Hollywood, she's in movies and on television and all this stuff. And as she's telling me this, I'm thinking, this woman is so sweet. She probably doesn't even know who I am or what I do for a living. Because I know what your daughter's out in Hollywood doing. And then she goes, would you like to see her picture? Oh, now I don't want to see this woman's picture, but what am I going to do? I go, okay, yeah, sure, I'd love to see the picture. And I grab the picture, and this is all I say. This is all I say. Oh. She's very beautiful. And as she puts the picture away, she looks mean all of a sudden, like she caught me in some kind of trap. What does that face mean? And then she goes, she's transgender. And I think to myself, oh, this bitch does know who I am. Scary shit. I gotta tell you, Harvey Weinstein is probably the first person that I ever looked at a photograph of him and was like, yeah, he rapes. I'm not sure this motherfucker has a choice. Not a handsome man. A lot of meat and extra skin on his face. Yeah, he's ugly. You know the sad part is, he's done so well in life, he probably doesn't know he's ugly. You know, when you're good looking, everybody will tell you, oh, you look wonderful, you're so great looking. But when you're ugly, you gotta figure that shit out for yourself. It's a lot of putting clues together through the years. Why am I not getting in the club? I got all the right shit on. If it was Brad Pitt doing that shit, he wouldn't have heard a peep. The girl would just come back down like, I got the part. Yuck! And yet, it is important that I acknowledge, ladies, you are absolutely right. There you go. They gotta all be mindful of that, guys, because this could happen to any of us. It could happen to me. I can see that. I see myself showing up. Hi, I'm here for my 3 a.m. with Mr. Weinstein. Hey, Harvey, I got your text. I'm here to talk about the script. Seems like it's going to be hard to read in candlelight, but I guess I could try. Sound like a fucking nightmare. Could you imagine that shit? Could you imagine if you was in a business meeting and a motherfucker pulled their dick out? In the middle of the meeting, I'd be like, Yo, my man, this is the most unprofessional shit I've ever seen in all my days. Just let me finish, Dave Chappelle. I'll put you in all 3 Lord of the Rings. Hurry up, nigga. I have other meetings, you know. I have a 4:30 a.m. at Brett Ratner's house. And, I believe it's wardrobe fitting.